Dolphins fans, welcome into Dolphins Today. I am Tom Downey. The goal this month is to beat last month in subscribers. I know it is the worst time of the year to be an NFL fan. There's really not much going on. We are trending behind not beating last month in subs. Let's get that changed. You want more free Dolphins videos? You want Dolphins training camp coverage? It's finally almost here. Hit that sub button right now. Let's begin with the Tua Tagovailoa conversation. ESPN has ranked the top 10 quarterbacks based on execs, coaches, and scouts all voting their top 10s. Tua was just an honorable mention. He did not crack the top 10, which I think he was trending towards doing so before the concussions unfortunately arrived last season. This is the top 10. Patrick Mahomes, number 1. Joe Burrow, number 2. Josh Allen, number 3. Aaron Rodgers, number 4. Herbert is 5. Hurts is 6. Lamar is 7. Trevor Lawrence is 8. Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford. Not the worst list. I've certainly seen a lot of worse ones out there. I'd probably move Lamar up and Rodgers down a little bit. But I think overall it's a pretty solid top 10. There's room to nitpick and adjust 1 or 2 spots. And in the end, I'm not surprised that Tua did not make the top 10. There's an argument for him. He definitely got some votes in the top 10. And I think maybe at number 10 is where you would have been able to make the best argument because Matthew Stafford didn't play very much last year. Still kind of riding the high from that Super Bowl run the year before that. Here were some of the other honorable mentions. Deshaun Watson, who, I'll be honest, he could be a top 10 quarterback again. He was bad last year, though, and had missed a bunch of time. So I think he's kind of a massive wild card there. Kirk Cousins was 12, Jared Goff, Derek Carr, and then Tua. So I would have Tua higher than 15th on this list. I will make note, it's not ranking necessarily 1 to 15 or 1 to 20. It's only the top 10. So 11 to 15 can be a little bit wonky of like, maybe everyone would have had Tua at like number 12. Well, that means no one had him at 10, right? So it can be a little bit deceptive in terms of maybe some of the higher floor guys like a Ryan Tannehill, Mac Jones not getting any votes, or I should say not higher floor, middle of the road players, but not being top 10, but also still being somewhere safely in that top 20 type of range. But yes, I would have Tua higher than 15. I am very glad, however, that he did beat out Kyler Murray. Murray was number 16 on the list. Daniel Jones and Justin Fields got votes, which kind of blows my mind. Like, I would hope that no one's voting for those guys over Tua, but hey, you never know. Weird stuff happens. Kyler's actually, I think, one of the most overrated players in the entire NFL. So I think Tua, top 15, absolutely. And maybe even closer to number 10 than number 15. I'd probably put him over guys like Goff and Carr, and you can talk me into Cousins and even Deshaun Watson as well. So where do you rank Tua among NFL quarterbacks? I have him just outside the top 10 because I'm not going to sugarcoat and just be a homer. I'll give you my honest thoughts on it. Where would you rank Tua among QBs? It is today's pinned comment, so if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. At minimum, I'm going to move him above above Jared Goff and Derek Carr. We've been down these roads. We know what those players are. They're starting caliber quarterbacks, but I think what we saw from Tua when healthy last year is better than what we've seen for the most part out of Goff and Carr over the course of their NFL career. So I'd put him in round 13. The concussions are worrisome, and that does dock the number a little bit for me. Because my mindset is, if we're assuming, okay, Tua's got to factor in the concussions, then are we factoring in Stafford's elbow injury? Are we factoring in Deshaun not playing that much? Should those guys drop a little bit more? Are we assuming both are at their best, in which case, okay, maybe Tua's still behind them? But I think somewhere in that kind of 10 to 13 range is the sweet spot for Tua. Here's what one NFL coordinator told ESPN about Tua, and I agree with this, by the way. But the first 6-7 weeks of last season, he could have been the MVP. I was impressed with his growth. Head injuries are complicated, but I like the direction he's heading. One AFC executive said this: he's got very good timing, touch, anticipation, accuracy, along with good pocket feel. He doesn't have top mobility and power/arm strength, so there are some limitations. He's a true point guard type who needs to get it out quickly and distribute to his playmakers, which he's done a good job of. I agree with that. I think that sums up Tua pretty well. He does not have a cannon for an arm. That does not mean he's a bad deep ball thrower. I've seen that claim. It's just wrong. He was, I think, second most accurate last year. He was awesome on deep balls. And if you believe in Tua, you guys can get his jersey or just some gear for Tua today at chatsports.com/Tua. That's simple, right? Got the jerseys for him, both the teal, the white jersey as well. And there's even some non-jersey items available at that link. If you're a shirt jersey guy, the jersey, that's available, actually on sale, by the way. So too is a signed mini helmet. Could be a great, obviously we're a long way off, but Christmas gift could be pretty strong there. Get your gear today, chatsports.com/Tua. That link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. It is a bit unfortunate that Tua did not get to finish out the season. Dolphins would have been contending for the number one seed, at least winning the AFC East, right? Tua is a really good fit in this Mike McDaniel offense, maximizing his abilities with those RPOs. He has the touch, the accuracy, the anticipation. He's a really good, I think that AFC exec was right. He is that true point guard type. That is not a negative, at least I don't view it as such. Having a good point guard at quarterback actually does make some sense. In the end, I would consider myself a member of Tuanon. I liked him a lot coming out of Alabama. I've defended him from some of the haters and losers online. I don't have him in the top 10, but I think he can have a top 10 season, be in that conversation next year, and I think he is the franchise guy for the Miami Dolphins. So are you a member of Tuanon? Y for yes, N for no. Get those votes in for me in the comment section. We'll wrap up today's show with an interesting pitch, I'll call it, from Bleacher Report. So they went through one player who's going to be, quote-unquote, the biggest breakout of the 2023 season. And they went with Emmanuel Ogbah, which is not the route I would have gone if I were Bleacher Report. I was surprised when I scrolled through that article and saw what it was for Miami. I do think that Ogbah's a strong bounce-back candidate, that he will be better than what he was last year because he'll be healthier, and the supporting cast will be much better around him. Here was the argument from Bleacher Report. Pass rusher Emmanuel Ogbah has had some quality campaigns for the Browns, Chiefs, and Miami Dolphins, but has never reached double-digit sacks or earned a Pro Bowl nod. That could change in Ogbah's fourth season in Miami. That extra split second in the pocket opposing signal callers will likely face after adding Ramsey, etc., will provide Ogbah with more sack opportunities. He should return to the form he showed in his first two seasons with the Dolphins, and he could experience a career year under Vic Fangio. I'm making some of my thoughts here, but I want to hear you guys first. Who do you think is the top breakout candidate this year for the Miami Dolphins? Is it Ogbah? Is it somebody on offense? Maybe somebody else on defense, even at maybe the exact same position. I think I'll throw that out there. Sound off for me in the comments section right now. I would take Jalen Phillips, the same position, over Emmanuel Ogbah. Emmanuel Ogbah turns 30 this year. I'm not trying to be anti-Ogbah here. I think Phillips stands out way more as a prime breakout candidate. And honestly, I think picking the third best pass rusher for the Miami Dolphins is a pretty bold choice, if not maybe not the choice I would make for the Dolphins this year. Again, I'm not trying to be anti-Emmanuel Ogbah. I like the player, but I think that you've got more upside in Bradley Chubb and Javon Holland from a national perspective, and maybe one of the young corners potentially emerging. Maybe that's Kid or Code, maybe it's not. Maybe it's just straight up Phillips or even Bradley Chubb. Ogbah played in 9 games last year. Didn't have the best production. I think that was part of just the Dolphins' defense in general being pretty bad. And I do think he will be better this season. I do anticipate a bit more of a 2020, 2021 caliber campaign out of Ogbah this season. But expecting him to reach double-digit sacks and getting a Pro Bowl nod when the Dolphins, I assume, are going to get really great production out of Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, might be asking for a little bit too much when it's all said and done. So, in conclusion, I'm not anti-Ogbah. I think he'll be better this year. I think he's a great, maybe the top bounce-back candidate for the Miami Dolphins. But calling him the biggest breakout player this year for the Fins is not something I'm on board with.